Hey, today's video is going to be a little bit ambitious, but here we go. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Another month, another wrap up, and also another TBR video. But today it's gonna be a little bit different because it's not only just gonna be my October TBR, which I'm super excited for. I am also doing a fall TBR. So all of the books in that category, I wanna try to read before Christmas time. As you can see, I have a lot of books here. I'm like, okay, Lucy, we need to relax a little. There's only so many days in a month, but life's not fun if you're not a little bit delusional. Am I right? Okay, so we're gonna start off the video with going through the books that I want to read in October specifically, and then we'll jump into the rest of the fall books. The first book is The Poppy War. This is a book that I'm in the middle of. I just could not finish it for September because this is one of those books where you can't really binge read. I need time to process everything that is given to me. That is not to say that I'm not enjoying this book. I am really enjoying this book. So The Poppy War is gonna be the very first book I'm gonna try to finish in October. I just didn't want to force myself to finish it for September because I wanted to actually enjoy the book. The next book is The Last Word by Taylor Adams. This is a thriller, and this is about, what's her name? Emma. This is about Emma. While she's house sitting all by herself, she ends up reading this book that she really doesn't like, and she gives it a 1 star, which gets back to the author of that book, and the author just does not take it well. He ends up stalking her and just doing really weird things throughout the entire story apparently, and that sounds really interesting because as a book reviewer, I always have this stress about giving a book a bad review, but you know what? I need to speak my truth. Then we have Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the last book in the Natural series. If you guys have watched my other videos, you know I'm obsessed with this series. I'm so excited to finally get all the answers to the questions that I have. This is a lot thicker than the other books, but it also has a novella at the very end. I'm sure you guys already know what the Natural series is about, so I'm just not gonna go too deep into detail about that. If you haven't heard about them, definitely go watch my other reading vlogs. Up next is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I've heard so many good things about this book, and people say that it really keeps you on the edge of your seat. I'm not too sure what this book is about. Don't judge me. She is more than just a housemaid. She is a nanny, and this family is really suspicious about something, and she finds out that the only way to lock her bedroom door in the attic is from the outside. No, I would quit. No, absolutely not. The next one is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacey Willingham. I got this book really recently, and this is also another thriller. This is about Chloe Davis. She's the daughter of an infamous serial killer. After her dad has been caught, these girls are going missing in the same kind of way when her dad was active as a killer, and now she's trying to solve what's going on because obviously her dad behind bars, but why are these crimes so similar? So she's trying to figure that out. It just sounds really interesting. I love true crime. I don't know. I just thought that was super interesting. Up next, I've been seeing this all over the place recently. It's called The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. She is the author of The 7-Year Slip, which I also ordered from Fairy Loot. I don't have it just yet, but that edition's really pretty. So I thought about picking this up to read also. Kind of jump into the fall Halloween mood, but also with something fun and lighthearted. Florence Day is the ghostwriter for one of the most prolific romance authors in the industry, and she has a problem. After a terrible breakup, she no longer believes in love is as good as dead. When her new editor, a too handsome mountain of a man, won't give her an extension on her book deadline, Florence prepares to kiss her career goodbye. By then, she gets a phone call she never wanted to receive, and she must return home for the first time in a decade to help her family bury her beloved father. Wait, that's so sad. What the heck? I did not think it would. Oh my gosh. For 10 years, she's run from the town that never understood her. Even though she misses the sounds of a warm southern night in her eccentric, loving family and their funeral parlor, she can't bring herself to stay. Her father's gone, yet everything else feels the same, and she hates it. Until she finds a ghost standing at the funeral parlor front door, just as broad and infuriatingly handsome as ever, and he's just as confused about why he's there as she is. Romance is most certainly dead, but so is her new editor, and his unfinished business will have her second guessing everything she's ever known about. Oh my gosh! So So the too handsome mountain of a man editor dies like right then and there. Not right then and there. So it's her current editor that dies and becomes a ghost. That is so tragic. Okay, up next is Powerless. I wanted to throw in a romantasy novel, and recently this has been blowing up. Rachel Catherine, Sarah Caroli, they love this book. I had to put this on my October TBR because I want to know what they're giggling about. I love giggling to books. I love having that feeling, so I really wanted to know what got them giggling so much. But this is a fantasy romance book, and basically this is a society where people have powers and people that don't have powers get executed. So our main character, what does she have? Not powers, so why is she not dead? She's pretending to have powers, she's pretending to be an elite, which are people with the powers, and one day she ends up joining this kind of Hunger Games situation, and now she needs to survive without exposing herself. She meets this guy, and that's all I know, but that sounds super interesting, and I'm super excited for this book, and I'm ready to be giggling. Next up, I have None Shall Sleep by L.A. Marnie. This is a book that I also really recently just got, and this gave off the Naturals vibes, so if you really like the Natural series, this is recommended. Just look how pretty this cover is. Like, I love it. Like, it's really simple, but the blue and then just the font and the little art here, like, it's a little gruesome, but it's cute. Like, it's a YA mystery, so how bad can it get? So it has the same concept of an FBI program recruiting teenagers, but instead of them having kind of like different skills like in the Natural series, this has two characters, one named Emma Lewis. She is a serial killer survivor, and then there's Travis Bell, who is a US Marshal candidate. They're both recruited into the FBI to interview convicted juvenile killers and provide insight on cold cases. So far we have 8 books for the month of October, but I have a few more over here that I do want to move over to October specifically, but they're all in like series that I want to start. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. Let's just jump right in. They're series in the sense that they're taking place in the same town. I don't know if you guys can see that. There you go. The first one is The Ex-Hex. The second one is The Kiss Curse. They're by Erin Sterling. These are like cute little witch romances, and they're super small, and I thought it would be really fun to kind of jump into something witchy. These books are described as romance taking place in Halloween Town. Small town, Halloween Town? Come on. I feel like that's so irresistible. I need to read that. So this is the second book, and I'm gonna put this for fall TBR, but this one is the first one, and this is specifically going to my October TBR. The next series I got when I went to Barnes for my Jennifer Lynn Barnes signing event. I got these 3 books because they were signed by Maureen Johnson. So I'm going to put these down here for fall TBR, but the first one I want to jump into in October because Jennifer said that she loved this series, and it's also a YA mystery novel. It's a private school in Vermont. When Ellingham's wife and daughter were kidnapped, the only clue was a mocking riddle listing methods of murder, signed with a frightening pseudonym, Truly Devious. Their disappearance became one of the great unsolved crimes in history. Many years later, true crime aficionado Stevie Bell is set to begin her first year at the academy, and she is determined to solve this cold case. So far, we have 10 books. And I should probably stop there because 10 books is usually more than enough for a single month, but no, I didn't stop there. So the next series up is the Chestnut Spring series. There's only 3 because I've already read the first one, and I really want to read the second one in October. I don't know if I'll get to it, but I really do want to read it. I loved the first book. It was just so fun. This one follows Cade Eaton, and he's a single dad that needs a nanny, and then there's a romance between him and the nanny, and I just want to know why he's so bitter. He's so mean in the first book. I just want to know why. Being a single dad, it's really rough, but he was bitter, bro. He was really bitter. So I want to know. And I want to jump back into the Chestnut Springs series. This is all of the physical books I want to read in October, but I do have a few that are on my Kindle that I really want to read. And the first one is Finale by Stephanie Garber. That is the last and final book in the Caraval series. I want to finish that series because I also want to jump into Once Upon a Broken Heart, which is another Stephanie Garber series. I really want to be able to read the third book when it comes out in October, so I want to try to read the first 2 books. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that, but that is what I'm hoping for. A little bit ambitious, but you need to be ambitious in life, friends. Am I right? Oh god. Oh god. I'm like looking at this and I'm like, Lucy, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Because Finale is 1 book, 2 for the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. With the third one, that's 4 extra books on top of this. I'm out of my mind. But let's just take a look at the other books that I want to read in fall, not in October. Maybe I'll pick it up in October if I really want to, but specifically just for fall TBR. And the first one is The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. She's the author of Fourth Wing. Everyone knows Fourth Wing, even if you haven't read it. I feel like you know it by now. And I picked this up because I wanted to read another book by her. She is known to be a romance literary fiction writer, I think, before she wrote Fourth Wing, so I really wanted one of her other books up, and this one is a really popular one. As they read Scarlett's words in both the manuscript and her box of letters, they start to realize why Scarlett, the grandmother, never finished the book. It's based on her real-life romance with a World War II pilot, and that ending isn't a happy one. Georgia knows all too well that love never works out, and while the chemistry and connection between her and Noah is undeniable, she's as determined as ever to learn from her great-grandmother's mistakes, even if it means destroying Noah's career. I think that's gonna be so much to unpack, but I always love a tragic love story. Then we have Heart of the Raven Prince by Tassanja Odette. This one is about a fae prince and a servant girl. This is a Cinderella retelling. He needs a bride to get his crown and she wants to leave her wicked family. So they kind of come to a deal with one another to fake this wedding. Fake marriage with the fae prince. That sounds fun. Can you tell I'm like so tired? I don't know, today has been like a day. I don't even know why I'm so tired. There's absolutely no reason. But here I am, tired. Up next is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I'm gonna be so for real with you. All I know is that there's magic involved between Victor and Eli, and that's about it. I got this because I've heard so much about the series. Next, we have Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. I really wanted to jump into an Alice Feeney book, so I picked this one a while back. It's one of those concepts where someone is killing the group of people one by one, and the people that are alive have to figure out why they're being killed, and they all have secrets. So, sounds interesting. Next, Fortuna Swan. I've talked about this. She has powers. She's able to make people's nightmares come to life. It's a romance between her and a fae person. Don't think it's a prince, but he is fae. Then we have One for My Enemy by Olivia Blake. I don't know why I have not read this book yet because I've been dying to read this book, but this is a Romeo and Juliet retelling in modern day New York between 2 rival witch family gangs. Up next is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillick. Okay, so this is about a book. This is about a book. This is about a girl named Elsbeth, and one day she gets sick with this disease that's spreading throughout the kingdom, and she survives it. Unfortunately, she gets these magical powers, kind of, where she has like a darkness inside of her. It's a sentient being, and that's all I know. I feel like after months of being on BookTube, I should be better at doing these videos and describing what books are about, but that's just not who I am, I guess. Oh my gosh, I forgot a series. That means I have more books to add to this. I have one more book to add to my October TBR because I forgot to mention this series. This is called the Skinjacker Trilogy by Neil Shusterman. This is the same author that wrote Scythe. I've read these books when I was younger, probably early middle school, maybe even elementary school. I grew up wanting to reread this series for the longest time, but I just could not find the series. I could not figure out what the series was called, who it was by, and every single time I was trying to look it up, I'd be like, kids dead and become ghosts. I grew up loving this series. I love these new covers. I love the colors of them. So I'm gonna jump into the first one again in October. So this is a book about Nick and Allie, and they get into a car accident which they don't survive. But instead of going to heaven or hell, they end up roaming kind of in limbo, which is the middle ground, and that's where ghosts reside. And I've always been really interested in ghosts because of all of my personal experiences growing up. So having this book be in the POV of ghosts was so fascinating to me. Allie isn't satisfied spending eternity between worlds. Against all warnings, Allie begins learning the criminal art of haunting and ventures into dangerous territory where a monster called the McGill threatens all the souls of Everlost. In this imaginative novel, Neil Shusterman explores questions of life, death, and what just might lie in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12. 13 for finale, 14, 15, 16 for the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy for October. 16 bucks. I know I'm not gonna read all of them. It's okay. I'm just really excited for this stack of books. And then we have this stack over here. I don't know if you guys can see all of it. We have this stack. This is my fall TBR. I hope you guys are super excited for the spooky season and the weather as I am. I'm gonna try to make it work as best as possible because I don't have all the room in the world in this space, and luckily I will be moving hopefully towards the end of October into my permanent house where I'm gonna have more room and my library back. That's all I really want, my library back, but it's okay. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!